Guys, welcome to Tomo Talks. I'm here with Khurram Bukhari, goes by KB. We're going to talk about how a life-changing stroke turned into a stroke of success. Can't wait to show you this. KB,
my man,
what's up, brother?
how you doing, buddy?
I got hookahs for us for this podcast together.
So excited for this hookah.
We did ours together. So on your channel, last week you interviewed me, and this
Amazing,
week,
by the way,
so listen,
one of the best guests.
It's funny because I actually when I left, I told Gary, I said that might have been one of my best podcasts I've done as a guest on a podcast.
That's amazing.
And you led with great questions. It was awesome. But I'm super happy that you're on mine.
Awesome.
Because we have a lot of parallels together that are super similar, you know. And you had a little bit of a health scare, which we'll get into.
Yes,
but you're in the medical space just like me.
Sure,
Not
a little different.
Not a doctor.
No,
Me
we're
either.
not both not doctors. Both entrepreneurs.
Both entrepreneurs in the medical space, and you are in the med spa space.
Yes, a little
right?
different.
So, you know, tell me about how that happened. I mean, give some background about yourself, and we'll get into your health journey and everything like that. And guys, for anybody that's going to talk shit about us smoking hookah, listen. Balance is everything.
There you go. Love it.
Balance is everything. We drink healthy water. We eat healthy food. You can enjoy your life a little bit, right? So, KB, tell me about how you got into this, and you know, kind of give me a backstory of like how you got into podcasting, how you got into media, how you got into all this stuff. Give me some.
First and foremost, Tomo, it's a pleasure to be on your podcast. My friend, again, I shared on my podcast. I'm going to share here quickly. You came on my feed, and I'm like, man, this is a handsome guy, sitting in that same seat probably, talking about healthy stuff, and you got me glued. Then I went to your profile, former cop, and all that stuff, and I saw a friend that we had common, Sanjay, amazing gentleman. I'm like, man, this guy's in Orlando. Boom. And then after that, the rest is history, my friend. So far, in a short time, you become a very important character in my book. I consider you to be a good friend, and I'm really inspired by you.
Thank you, brother.
Seriously, I am. You're a humble man. The way you treated my staff at the gala, I went back and told my wife, I'm like, he's such a gentleman. Most of the guys I come across, look at my girls, they may work on my team. They're not related to me, but bro, like they work for me.
Yeah.
And the respect that men should have, you know, and you show that. So I salute you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that.
Brother, how did everything start? So look, I can get in my childhood, but I'll start with what I think was a pinnacle in my book, The Stroke. 2017, my friend, 2017 Christmas morning. I had one baby on the way, one running around. My wife's a physician, South Florida, you know, Miami, Florida. And my wife's like, listen, babe, I'm going to call a babysitter to help you out this morning. She had to run to the hospital for a shift. And she went. And man, thank God, Isa, our South American babysitter who didn't speak a word of English, was there. And anyway, so I said, Isa, I'm going to take a nap, watch my baby. I'm going to come and I'll back downstairs. Tomo, I went upstairs, my friend, and I'm going to give you a short version of it because it gets long. I just fell down, bro. Fell down. My right side just gave in, got numb.
Ooh.
And I'm confused, right? And I call my wife from my left phone like this on speaker. I'm like, babe, I'm saying gibberish. And she's like, babe, I just got to the hospital. She was 9 months pregnant. And he goes, it was the hospital really busy that day. She goes, babe, I'm really busy. What do you need? I'm speaking gibberish. And she thinks I'm fucking with her. I'm like, babe. And she got the hint. She called 911. 911 took me in. Tomo, she called my best friend to come help her. That distance between me and Gary right now, I look at her and I didn't know who she was. I'm confused. Oof. My best friend's right next to her. And they took me, and I remember one thing, the loudspeaker saying code stroke alert, and people going nuts. And I had to pee, but I can't communicate it. So I'm hitting everyone to find a bathroom. They call security. Big 6'2" security guard comes, grabs me.
They think you're losing it.
They think I'm losing it. And I was, partially.
Sure.
My wife comes to me. She goes, babe, you had to pee? I go, yes, you got a bin right there. I open my stuff right there. I'm peeing right there.
Yeah.
And a lady comes behind me with the injection and gives me a shot. And next thing you know, I'm in a coma. Induced coma for 1 whole week, Christmas to New Year's Day, buddy. They tell her, they said, Dr. Simon, call his friends and family. Come say goodbye. People came, say goodbye, they left. I had no clue. Christmas Day to New Year's Day.
What year was this?
2017, 8 years ago.
Wow.
Not too long ago. 35. to put in perspective.
Okay.
I wake up, man, one of my best friends right next to me, and he turns to me like this. He goes, KB, you had a stroke. Sam was okay. The baby's okay. But you're in bad shape. I remember, man, the doctor comes to me, and he looks at me and he goes, KB, I'm going to remove the ventilator out of your mouth, and I want you to breathe. Had the biggest, hardest time to breathe, man. And he goes, can you move your right side? And nothing moved, Tomo. He said, KB, can you say the word buttercup? And I swear to you, I couldn't say it to save my life. He goes to my wife in the corner, and I hear the whole conversation happening. He goes, hey, Dr. Sama, I don't think he's going to be normal. I don't think he's going to be able to function normally.
They thought it was going to be a permanent thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm hearing this, my friend. So can you imagine what my inner feelings happening? Fast forward, bro. Went to the rehab. The grace of Allah, I started getting movement, started to get the speech therapy, went back home. My case was so special that they had called a media company to come do my interview. There was a showcase for the hospital. Moved with my in-laws. My wife's about to give labor. She traumatized from our townhouse. She wants to take off now. I have no job. And my in-laws were, I love them to death. They took me in. And I go back to my job eventually and like, hey, KB, want to let you go.
What were you doing at that point?
I was a marketing director, executive.
Okay.
For a tech company.
Okay.
Good friend of mine till this day, my mentor. And at that time, what he did to me was the most fucked up thing, but it was a big favor he did for me. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. And he let me go. I'm crying. I'm threatening to sue him and everything. And I'm going home to him, a 35, grown up man, crying to tell him, I'm thinking, how am I tell my wife what happened? I lost my job. And dude, fast forward, I'm sitting there with her just like this. And I'm like, babe, every Zoom interview I'm doing, I'm bombing. I can't barely speak.
Oof.
My brain's not functioning. He goes, babe, relax. I love you. The fact that you made it this far is a blessing. I didn't think you're going to make it this far. Why don't you get your real estate license and just sell houses? And Tomo, with the grace of God, my friend, I went for my real estate license, bro. Within less than 2 months, I got my first listing. And from there, my broker called me to come to Orlando. Got a whole team, 10x my income. Entrepreneurial bug hit me and never looked back.
When did the symptoms of the stroke start to subside? How many?
24 hours.
Okay. And then when were you fully functional again?
Oh, so symptoms happened by 24 hours before the stroke happened.
Yep.
And you're saying, well, how
how long did it take for you to recover?
Fully?
Fully.
Speech, function of hands, everything, about 45, 60 days.
Wow.
The worst crisis in the world, dude. I mean, it was the worst.
So, I mean, looking back on it, people will say like, wow, what caused it? What did that? What did this? Nobody really knows what caused it, You can assume that it could be lifestyle, hereditary, who knows, you know what I mean? But when you look at it from your perspective now, it's going to sound weird. It's going to sound messed up. Are you happy it happened?
100%.
Isn't that crazy?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that
100%.
crazy though? Aren't you? It's like, how can you be happy that a stroke happened, right? But I look at the same thing of like everything detrimental, right? Aren't you happy that you lost your job? Aren't you happy that that person dumped you? Aren't you happy that you hit rock bottom and you had nothing, and that's how you discovered your purpose or something? That happened to you all in an instance.
Yes.
And it's funny. One of the things on here that my team actually wrote out here, and it's comical, but it's kind of like it's real. Calling it a stroke of success.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Your success point came from that stroke, and you had to get through that and all that detriment and hardship. I mean, some people wouldn't have come out of that.
Well, I had a choice not to.
Sure.
Partially, I had a choice. Of course, everything's God's plan, as you mentioned in my podcast last week.
100%, yeah.
But I had something to do with it. And I give all glory to God, but I couldn't be the victim and say, I can't do this. Oh my God.
Sure.
And I almost had that route.
I mean, do you believe that those challenges, and there are people out here, I don't understand that they're someone who doesn't believe at all in God.
Sure.
I don't understand that at all.
Me neither.
Believing in a higher power, I think, is one of the most important things you can have. So, but for those people that maybe have doubts and things like that, or I hear the thought, or I hear people say, well, why would God let these bad things happen to me? Why would God bring this pain to me? So I look at that, and then I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, well, from my perspective, if We've said this on your podcast. Allah is the best of planners. God is the best of planners. God has the best plan for you possible. So if he's the best of planners, every detriment, every negative thing that happens to you, including your stroke, was for you to learn and grow and develop into who you are supposed to be on your path.
100%.
And now your path leads here. You're talking 8 years later, yeah?
Yes.
So 8 years later, and you built yourself up. You had a real estate thing going. You then ended up going into the medical space. And what year was that? What was the medical? When did the medical company start?
The thought happened right after the stroke.
Yep.
Me and my wife sitting down just like you and I are sitting right now.
Yep.
And I'm looking at her. She's looking at me. She delivered 2 babies back to back. She's like, babe, I'm a mess. I'm like, babe, I'm a mess. I'm like, I wish there was a place like a med spa that we can go to that we've catered to family.
Yeah.
We can bring your kids and get what you need to get. And we had the thought in our head. And so we have eventually executed in 2024.
Okay.
We opened our med spa, newer med spa in Nick Nona in 2024, January.
What's the med spa called?
Noor.
Okay.
N-U-R. And by the way, Noor in Arabic means inner light, inner beauty.
Awesome. What's your lineage?
I'm Pakistani. My parents Pakistani,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. So, this story, when I hear it, people are going to say, okay, it's an inspirational story. Transformational maybe, right? What does the story mean to you? Give me what happened in your brain. Like how did this story frame everything that you are now and how you teach people? Because you don't only own a med spa. You're not only a guest on a podcast, you have your own podcast. You do public speaking.
Yes, I do.
You help people kind of reframe their brain. Is it just men or is it men and women?
Men and women both, yeah.
Yeah. So, you're helping people kind of get out of their own way, which is a lot of what I do too. Again, we have a lot of synergy together.
A lot of parallels.
So there's a lot of parallels together. What's the big revealer here for you? When you go into this, I know I'm asking some deep questions.
No, you are.
But
think.
What's the revealer here for you? What was the biggest thing that you having a stroke and you going through this, what was it, how did it make you truly feel about life, about God, about yourself, about success?
Yeah, good question. That's deep. Look, I'll take you back a few chapters back, and they'll make a lot of sense too. My dad walked on me at age 5 or 6. Okay. Single mom, Brooklyn, New York, Pakistani mom, no education, broke as hell. New York back in the 80s. You're a cop. Brooklyn back in the 80s, 90s was the worst time to live.
It's not a great place to live. Yeah.
Back then, before Giuliani came and cleaned it up, there's a lot of Gambino family.
Yep.
I think that the law you guys have, it was passed at that time where they need one little thing they can go after you. It's a law for the Italian mafia they did. Anyway,
you're talking about the four.
It's right there. My
shit. What is that law called? It's not Stark. It's not Stark law. It's
no. If they find anything, they can go after you, and that's what took John Gotti down. But anyway, we'll come back to us.
Yeah.
So, anyways, worst time, and again, victim mentality started from that time. I believe, Tomo, and I not believe I've read this, and I believe it. From the time you are in your mom's womb, from age 0 to 5, 6, 7, your subconscious mind is being developed. If your mom and dad talk about money doesn't grow on trees, we're poor. Look at my skin color. I'm not light skinned as Gary. He's white. I'm Pakistani. He'll get ahead. I can't. His name is whatever last name is John. And those belief systems we have will then contribute to our habits, and our habits contribute to our lifestyle, what the outcomes are. And for most of my life, man, I was lost, lazy, victim mentality, and I grew up with that. So again, stroke happened. Oh, and I forgot one more important chapter. Only child to a single mom. I turned 17. She comes home one day from a hospital. I said, son, I have cancer. Oh. Fast forward 5 years later, she lost a battle with cancer. I was very close to her. Only child. And I lost her. I was 22. She was 44, 45. My age, I'm 43 right now. So she left me at this age. And I turned to, she used to lay down in her first floor bedroom. She had a bottle of Percocets. And this is 2020, this is 2004. 2025, this is the Percocets heyday. Not many people knew about it. You're an officer, you probably heard about the opiate crisis. So I just grabbed it. I'm like, Mom, what is this? She goes, this is for my back pain. I have some back pain. And I started popping them. Again, feeding the dragon. I got a dependency on those. Again, victim mentality.
Yep.
Keep growing with this. So to fast forward, to answer your question, majority of my life, I'm a victim. This is Allah's doing, and this is my kismat.
Yeah.
This is what my luck is, and I cannot amount to them. Even though I got my degrees,
Sure.
I was struggling. I always was dabbling in different substances to numb the pain until the stroke happened.
Oof.
And even after the stroke, I was still a victim. Like,
Gave
why
me chills,
me,
bro? That gave me chills. That I actually got chills.
right?
So when you talk about that stroke saved your life,
100%.
because you would have went down a path where you probably would have never met your wife, maybe
No.
never had kids, maybe would have died.
I mean, I met her before, but my marriage would have been done.
True, because you could have potentially been a drug addict.
100%.
And what an important lesson. And for people out there, you talk about victim mentality. I am anti-victim mentality.
Oh, I know.
I am ultimate accountability mentality.
And I love that.
Everything is my fault, and everything is up to me to correct.
It should be like that.
What do you tell people? Like, what's your advice? And I say this all the time on my podcast, and I said it on yours. Like, what's your advice to people that are in a place where they feel like there's no way out? What do you tell people like that? I'm sure, and you talk to people. We're going to talk about your coaching and stuff like that. What do you tell somebody like that that's like, has that woe is me mentality, has the mentality of I'm the victim, has the mentality of there is no way out, this is going to be my life, all this stuff. What's your advice?
Yeah, so I had a good friend I lost, but before he passed, he was a drug addict, and I went with him to the AA meetings to support him. And he had this book, it's called The Big Book, and I started reading it. There's 12 steps in there, and the third step is, I think third or fourth step, it's where, for example, I have a problem with Tomo, and the book has, the third step is broken down in a bunch of lines. So who's the problem with? So it's KB versus Tomo. Okay, what did Tomo say to you? Tomo cursed me out. And the last column is the most important column. What did I do to Tomo?
Oof.
And what that does, it shows you that you are accountable. I'm blaming him. Well, Tomo is the asshole. Tomo did this to me. Tomo, you did this. Tomo, you're not a good friend to me. But I am no accountability. The third step is for to show you what your contribution was. And that was an eye-opener for me.
Sure.
So first and foremost, to the audience listening in or watching this, what's your fault in the situation? You got let go from your company. You got fired. It's not your boss. Sometimes it is, right? Sometimes it's racism. So it could be a lot of things. But were you performing the best of your capabilities? Were you lazy? Were you coming on time? Were you staying last? Were you being proactive?
Well, it's like the idea of giving 100%, right? And I laugh at the idea of 100% because most of us give not even close. When I hear somebody, I gave 100% towards this. Did you? What's 100%? 100% looks like something most people have never seen. Yeah. So when I hear that you gave 100%, I'm like, okay, so you never watched TV, never couldn't have. You never snoozed your alarm. You were never once late for work. You never checked your phone that's 100%. 100% is perfection. You're not doing that. You're not doing that. So, you can always take accountability for something in a scenario. Now, there are things that happen that maybe are out of your control, but also those are lessons. Those are things that without that hardship, without that negative place, without that perceived negative situation, you're not you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like your parents getting divorced early or your father leaving early, that made an impact on you. You can either be a victim of that and continue that, that mentality, or you can say, okay, well, what did that teach me? Well, more than likely, and a lot of men do this. I'm one of them because my father left early as well. One of the things it taught me was that I'm never going to be that. I'm going to be there for my kids. You would have to put an army in front of me, and God help that army to keep me away from my kids. That's how I think. That's the only way that I understand how to do that. And then when I look at, hey, what about all the hardship that I did, all the struggle, and the times that I was poor, the times when I walked in a grocery store and I couldn't afford to buy food. That's happened. People don't look. They'll look at you right now. People on this podcast, or they look you up. They look at you right now and they'll be like, "Oh, he's successful. He probably came from money. Oh, that car. Oh, the Rolex.
I get that quite a bit.
Of course, so do I.
Yeah.
You know,
You look rich, man.
I'm like,
yeah.
6 years ago, I was a police officer
Yeah.
making $70K a year. Good career, but $70K a year is not a lot of money.
Not a lot of money.
You know, you can barely support a family on that. Barely, especially now. So it's like, you know, when we look at all the detriment and all the negativity that comes to us, there's always a silver lining and there's always an accountability moment. So, you know, for anybody that just listened to what he said on accountability, go into every situation and say, it's my fault. Well, my girlfriend cheated on me. It's your fault. They're like, what? What do you mean it's your fault?
Yeah.
What was it? What was the stroke? What was the stroke caused by? Do you know? Or was there no actual information?
I have theories. I mean, they couldn't figure it out. I'll share this on your podcast. I have not shared this before. I was fighting some substances.
Gotcha. So the potential that
I think I did my research after that, and I mean, look, and my wife's a physician, and we're Pakistani. Either we own 7-Elevens or we're doctors. True story.
proper
no offense,
racism for the
you know what I mean?
podcast.
Look, no offense to them.
7-Elevens
we're doctors or physicians or engineers now, and a lot of my friends are physicians, and I talked to a bunch of them, and it could have been that.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
But it was my carotid artery that got a dissection.
Okay.
And that having dissection at 35 is either you're having, it's like someone's had you in a headlock.
Mm-hmm.
It's like or a car accident, your neck jerking, or some trauma.
Got it.
But there's no black and white answer to it. But yeah.
Now tell me about your mindset coaching, and your stroke of success method.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me about that, because you're turning the pain of that situation. You're turning the I don't know. I hate to even call it anything negative. But you're turning something that people automatically perceive as a negative thing into a positive. So explain to me what you're doing for people now.
So I offer coaching. I'm not even charging anything. There's no charge for it. No. And I'm not gonna give you 2 hours of my time. I'm a busy man. But I offer time to time that, hey, DM me, talk about your story, and I'll DM you back, or I'll call you, or we can set up a phone call. But Tomo, hold most of my life being a victim. Me against the world's against me. Mm-hmm. I realize, you do have, and this is my belief, and some Muslims are not happy when I say this, some are, I feel like you co-create with your higher power. Allah, Jesus, Moses, whatever you believe in, Hashem, whatever it may be, Buddha, the universe is there, and you could sit down and do visualization, prayer, and all that, but you must take some action to meet halfway, and the universe, God, Allah, whatever you want to call, will come and open the doors and lead you from there. But you have to take some action. Mm-hmm. And the people that are reaching out to me is interesting. They're a lot of them from New York, welfare fed people like myself, and blue collar jobs. And like KB, like I'm in a dead end job. Like my life is bad. I go, yes, you are in a dead end job. But what can you do as you are in the dead end job? Is you can do self-development.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, my friend, yes, I'm a Muslim. I'm not the perfect Muslim. I'm not a fully practicing Muslim. I do believe in Islam, but I believe in all religions. I respect all religions. You told me when you came to my podcast, you had a small Quran and a cross across your chest. I was talking about my best friend to you last night about it. He can't wait to watch your podcast. But I'm like that, dude. Like I believe in a lot of things.
Sure.
Right? With that being said, self-development. Sit there, open a book, tune into Tomo Talks, your channel, your IG page, man. Self-development 101.
Thank you.
I love it. And I forward to all my friends. Your reels come out. I'm liking them. I've shared them because, man, again, it's free. Go on, get an Instagram. You're on Instagram looking at girls' asses half the time, or looking at sneakers, or like stupid stuff, or TikTok. Come on my channel. Come on my page, dude. Pick up Tony Robbins' book, Patrick Bet David. Self-development changed my life. I'll tell you what. My brother-in-law, Billy, who actually named my podcast, shout out to Billy. One randomly, I called him, like, hey, Billy, I'm doing my podcast. What should be the name? He goes, KB, Historical Success. Him and his wife got me my first ticket to the vault 4 or 5 years ago. They knew a big fanboy of Patrick Bet-David back in the day. And they got me the ticket. First vault I went to, and it was with, I think it was with Chas Palminteri and Eric Connolly from, Kevin Connolly from Entourage. Bro, from then on, I've been Patrick Bet-David. Every vault happens, I go. I talk to him on Manic for every little thing. I give him a proposal to come on my podcast. He goes, listen, you have to have X amount of subs and X amount of viewers, and I'll come on. But studying him, self-development, Ed Milet, whoever he's made for you, Tim Grover.
Yeah.
Read the books, man. Listen to the podcast. Do the fucking work.
Is that the step to like rebuilding your identity and belief systems when you're in that place? You know, like, so like when I talk about like, you know, when you talk about your stroke of success method, you talk about practical steps. You talk about practical steps in rebuilding your identity and your belief systems. It's not just belief in God. It's not just belief in a principle. It's belief in yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So, you know, why do most people not do that very simple set of steps? And why do they stay stuck in trauma, whether it's physical, emotional, anything?
Yeah.
Why is that?
You're the perfect person you're asking. And that's the difference between me and you were. Like, we both lost our father, but you took it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
You did bodybuilding. My mom was so scared of me living in Brooklyn in the 80s. She's like, you're not going to go anywhere. Because, you know, people were getting robbed, killed all the time. So what I turned to was movies. And movies helped me develop a lot of my sales technique and my personality. But going back to you, what you said to me, look, you don't know what you don't know. Programming, movies, commercials, we tend to go where we feel easy. It's easy for me to eat ice cream, right? Instead of eating healthy. Like I hurt my collarbone doing squats the other day. I had two choices. I could say, nope, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna pull away from working out, or no, fuck that. I'm doing a keynote in June next month. I'm opening up for Mario Lopez. I want to get more leaned up. I want to work out. And I went back to the gym. I'm really proud of myself because old me was like, you know, I'm gonna opt out. It's very easy to opt out of life.
Oof.
My problem was, Tomo and Gary, I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe in myself. Why? Lack of father figure.
Sure.
Patrick Bet-David, I keep giving him shout outs. He did this amazing video, the importance of a father. Especially our age, we're both 80s guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gary's he's 25 years old. He's a baby. But if you look at the stats, 80s and 90s, there are people that are in jail right now. The people that are doing OnlyFans and strip clubs, women and guys, their fathers were skipping out in the 80s. So not having a father figure, a male figure, number one. And number two, not having belief in yourself. So people listen to this and you feel you're stuck and you feel like your life is not working out and you want to blame it other people and you feel like you're not good enough. You're not good enough for that girl right there across you and to go say hi to her. You're not good enough to say hi. You see Tomo in a restaurant and he's a handsome, tall guy. You get very nervous.
Blow me up over here.
You know what I mean? If you want to get nervous, go and say hi to him. I dare you to get yourself together, get your guts together and go and put your hand out there and say hi to him. I promise you, he'll turn around, at least he'll give you a few words of wisdom. Mm-hmm. Most men cannot do that.
Yeah, you know, it's funny and it's like, you know, I look at people that just like get in their own way constantly. They're constantly in their own way. And you know, we talk about conscience, we talk about like the, you know, whatever, the angel and the devil on the shoulder. And you guys have heard all this stuff. You've heard
100%.
this, you know what I mean?
Islam's talked about that all the time.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, you have a good and bad voice in your head. There's science behind it too. You know what I mean? It's not just, and I think, you know what annoys me is when people only look at maybe the faith-based stuff or the science-based stuff and they don't intermingle it. It's all the same shit.
Yes.
It's all the same stuff. When you guys say universe, all the universe is rewarding me. Karma's rewarding me. That's God too. It's the same shit. You're just calling it something different.
That's it.
There's a higher power out there and most people recognize it.
Yeah.
Maybe they just don't want to call it God or Jesus or Allah or whatever.
What it may be.
You know what I mean? Whatever it may be. So What's one core belief that you had to destroy to rebuild yourself and get yourself into this?
Great question. I'm not white. I dealt with that a lot.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny, you know.
And I'm white. So.
You're white. You're white. Gary's white. You know, Steven's white. David's white. It's a white world.
It's white people. Damn white people.
You know, hey, might have a funny name. My mom had a hijab on. You know, my buddy Chris had, you know, his mom didn't have it. And like, I'm less than you. Yeah. That's the belief.
And so you grew up in that belief system. Oh.
So I'm not going to be good enough as Gary would be in speaking in front of a class because my mom has a fucking accent and we're less than you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. You know, it's like my mom told me a story when she came here. They had a name for people that came into the country and they were not American and they had an accent and stuff like that. And they called my mom DP. That she should be like deported or something like that. Wow. Like that was a name. It was in Northeast Ohio, and they basically would shun them because they don't have an American accent. You know, so I'm first generation American. I don't have an accent unless you get me drinking a little bit and I start talking on a bunch of Croatian people. He's
good to go.
I'll lay out an accent. We can get one going.
Yeah.
But you know, I never understood that type of victim mentality where I would say, you know, although you know what. You just reminded me of it, and I haven't thought about this in a long time. It's funny because I was almost a victim to the reverse of it when I was a police officer. I remember in Ohio, I was so mad. In Ohio, for you to get involved in a law enforcement agency, you had to take a civil service test.
Okay.
And I remember testing for this agency I really wanted to work for. They were one of the highest paid in Northeast Ohio, Beechwood Police Department. And I tested very high on the test. It was like top 20. There was like 400 people took the test. They didn't even recognize anybody in like the first 50 or so because they were all white males. And they passed us by even though we tested higher, even though we maybe had experience, even though something else. But because I was a white male, I didn't fit a affirmative action quota. And I was passed up on a job because I was a white male. And I'm like, wait, how the hell does that make sense?
That's insane.
But that was the first time that I think I ever understood or recognized, like, you know, I've never been a victim of racism or sexism or anything like that. So, you know, I don't really understand it. I think it's stupid. I think it's the dumbest shit that I've ever seen in my life. Why would I judge somebody based on just the color of their skin or their religion, whatever? I don't get it. Don't understand.
Yeah.
Can you do the job? Can you do it well?
That's it.
Cool. You're hired.
That's all I care for.
I don't care what color or sex you are. It doesn't matter, you know. But when I see people stuck in that mentality, they're like, yeah, you know, I'm just never going to get ahead because I'm black. Never going to get ahead because I'm Hispanic. I'm never going to get ahead because I'm Pakistani, because I'm Arab. I'm like, who fucking taught you that? Where did that come from? You know, and I know there's been racism, and there's racism still.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's out there, but you will limit yourself from absolutely everything if you believe it. Because you won't even try. You're not even going to give it a shot. Like, and people may automatically, like, maybe there was someone who was a different race or creed or color or whatever, it might be slightly more tan than me, come up to me and they won't even ask for an opportunity because I'm a white guy. You know how sad that makes me? I'm like, no, I need you. I need you to step up. I need you to recognize that victim mentality is bullshit. And that you may be the best person for this job and you may elevate my company. You may be a C-suite executive one day. That limiting belief of yourself is the number one thing that holds you back. And that little devil on your shoulder, whether you want to call it a devil or not, it's just fear. That fear mechanism is a mechanism to keep you safe. Your brain wants to keep you safe.
Yeah.
Your heart and your gut is what wants you to thrive. Most people let their heart and gut just get killed by their fear. And it's such a bummer to me. Such a bummer. You know?
Yeah, to touch on that, like it's a soul and it's too, I forgot the analogy, but we are naturally, our body is naturally always want to give us comfort. Our parents, I think I was talking to you about it. Your father was saying to you, hey, Tomo, relax, you got enough You're doing enough.
Yeah.
You told me that. My father-in-law, my dad is not in my life as much, but my father-in-law, my wife's father, is like my second dad. I love him to death. Every time he's over from South Florida, he goes, son, take it easy. You guys are doing well enough. Go take a nap.
Don't work too hard.
Don't work too hard, man. Take a nap. And he did it and he's a hard worker himself.
Of course.
And shout out to him, I love him to death. But, like my dad, I'm not working. This is not work for me.
Yeah.
For me to be on this podcast now work. For me to run the Met Spa, the podcast, media company, real estate, whatever I'm doing, it's not work. It's a lifestyle. So, but one other thing I want to touch on, you said what advice I like to give people.
Yeah.
Look, I know. Believe in yourself. And how do you do that, KB? It's like saying, okay, there's a bench right there. Go pick it up. Well, I can't. You're stronger, but you have been doing it for longer. That doesn't mean that I cannot eventually pick that up. Mm-hmm. So just the same way, I have to do some curls and build my way up there slowly. Eat right, get the proper sleep, come to a wellness place like yours and get some TRT, and do it, right? However, with that being said, same thing with your mind.
Yeah.
You can't open a business overnight. You can, but to succeed, like your story was so inspiring. Like you had nothing to open it. And now, God bless you. I look at your story. I saw you put on the other day. You had the shout out from I forgot who it was, the article.
Oh yeah, the UAE. It was a UAE publication that came out. It was great. I was
so happy. I was so proud of you. And but it's like that didn't happen overnight. That was self-development, hard work you put over. You put those reps over and over and over. And I can't wait to see the Tomo 2 years from now. I can't wait to see the Gary 2 years from now. I can't wait to see the Stevens and the Davids, the KB, the Sanjays. Because same thing, as they're lifting that weight, eventually you can lift that weight. But you have to put the time in overnight. And people want quick success.
Well, you know what's funny is people forget to measure backwards a lot of times. And people forget to look at where they came from.
Yeah.
And unless you're just a complete lazy piece of shit and you're not doing anything, if you look at where you were a year ago, you need to understand that you did level up somewhere. Did you have setbacks? Yeah. You probably should have, and you probably needed them to grow as long as you paid attention. One of the things I constantly say, and I've said this in so many podcasts, people are probably sick of hearing it, is that I never lose. I don't lose. Can't lose. Impossible. Why? I don't lose, I win, or I learn.
I love that.
I always find the lesson in everything. Even when I lost $250,000 almost, and like I had, accountants and CPAs and my CFO, and are like, oh my God, I can't believe we're going to lose all.
You told me a story.
Yeah, I told you this.
Love this story.
And I'm like, I'm looking at them, I'm smiling, I think I'm insane. I'm like, isn't it cool that we could do that? Isn't it cool that we have the capability to lose $250,000? And everybody's still eating. Everybody still has a house. Nobody got fired.
We're standing.
Nobody got fired. But what do we learn? Don't invest in that kind of business. It's not for us. Sweet. Great lesson. Probably saved me $20 million later on. But going into anything without the level of confidence and measuring backwards and showing and not just showing, but expressing that kind of gratitude. Like, look at yourself in the mirror today. Anybody doing this, and me and you can do this. And me and Gary have done this together. We were just in Dubai. We did this. We're looking at each other. We're like damn near tearing up because like, dude, can you believe we're doing this? Like, where are we at? You can look in the mirror and remember what you thought about yourself a year ago and where you were. Remember where you thought about yourself and where you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Think about when you were a kid. Think about when you were like, you can get it so granular. Think about when you were 15 and all you wanted was a car. Because at 16 you got your license. You just wanted a car. What are you driving now? It's probably not the piece of shit that you got when you were 16 years old. The gratitude practice of understanding where you were at one point and where you are now is usually enough energy for you to keep going and tell that little fearful demon in the back of your head to shut the fuck up, because you can do so much more.
Nailed it.
That's how I perceive everything. It's impossible to lose if you don't let yourself.
Yeah. And great. No, you nailed it. Listen, and that's another thing I learned. Like, my wife is a type A medical doctor, blue collar family.
Mm-hmm.
And she was always at fight with herself. Like, man, I can't fail. And until she became an entrepreneur recently. And I love the fact that she's learning that it's okay to hire the wrong person.
Oh, yeah.
But in the beginning, she beat herself up. I said to her, I was like, Simon, in medical school, you studied ABC and you gave it a test. You became a doctor. I salute you. A lot of studying. Entrepreneurial business is different. There's no, and you know this more than anyone else. There's no black and white. A person can come in, did the best interview, Tomo, and have the references, and next thing you know, it's the worst hire. And it's okay. Like you said, you don't lose, you learn.
That's it. Yeah, it's not possible, you know. And you know, going into like what we're doing now, we both built medical clinics, you know, a little bit different modalities, but you know, mine's in the wellness and hormone anti-aging space, and yours is in the med spa space, which is
Aesthetics.
You know, it's aesthetics and beauty.
Yes.
Yeah, both are great.
Right.
Both are great,
needed.
and they make people feel better, and they get people, you know, kind of in a more positive place, right? As long as it's done right, ethically, you know, which I know yours is,
Yeah.
because of who you are as a person,
Right.
you know, and who I assume your wife is. Never met your wife.
Yeah.
I you know, inshallah, I get to meet
Inshallah,
her.
she wants to meet you too.
I'm excited to do
She
that.
hears your name all the time now. She's getting a little annoyed about it. Tomo this, Tomo that. Tomo told me this. Tomo me that.
Yeah,
So,
we just talked about the water thing off camera.
She was like, listen, I get it. He's a new friend of yours, but I'm a doctor. I've been telling you that. You don't listen to me, and you meet this cop. This former cop was telling you that, and you come home, and my daughter said, I'm like, I say any my daughter, no more drinking water out of the bottle. Uncle Tomo said no.
Yeah.
And like, who's Uncle Tomo? You'll meet him one day.
Yeah, don't worry, he's your uncle though.
Yeah, you'll meet him one day.
That's awesome, man. But like going into like this wellness and stuff like that, and like for anybody's asking about this story, you're gonna have to watch podcast number 1. Yeah. We're talking about like water bottle and plastics, you know, like the microplastics in your water, getting a filtration system, getting water. We have a glass bottle right here underneath the table, you know. So what you feed your body, whether it's water, whether it's food, information, what you're consuming. We talked about social media earlier. We talked about getting certain books, reading certain books, getting your mindset right. This mind-body thing that we have, it is what you feed it.
Yeah.
It's the tools that you give it will either make you shit or it'll make you amazing.
Yes, 100%.
It's not too hard.
I'm gonna ask something else quickly.
Please.
If let's say Gary comes to me and he's struggling, he's a younger guy, and he's like, KB, I'm struggling. Again, believe in yourself. Number 1. Number 2, write down your goals. Number 3, who are you hanging out with? And I have a perfect example for everyone listening here. Alhamdulillah, in the last 2 to 3 years, I have built an amazing network of gentlemen. Sanjay, once again, amazing, a friend of mine, my mentor, big brother, I call him all the time for advice. And I purposely seek high value, high level, high frequency men to be friends with, to network with. Example, Stephen and David. Common friend of yours and mine, John Mason, came up to my house for dinner. His fiancée Modi, we love her to death. He was on a podcast. His reel came up. I'm like, man, okay, Raising Alpha. Who are these two gentlemen? Okay, Stephen and David. Stephen, I DM'd him. Hey, Stephen, I'm a friend of John Mason's. I would love to talk to you. You do my podcast, I do your podcast. He go, let me call you tomorrow. He called me tomorrow. We're talking. And I go, hey, by the way, we didn't meet yet. I go, there's a guy named Tomo. He goes, man, Tomo's my guy. I film at his studio all the time.
Yeah.
He'll come next week. I'll introduce you. I sat with Stephen and David on the podcast. Gary filmed it. That meeting, now me and Stephen talk all the time, texting back and forth.
Sure.
Amazing gentleman. I learned so much from his story, from David's story, from Gary's story, from your story. Again, I go out there purposely reach men that are doing something with their life, not to use them or take out of them, but learn, be a sponge.
Yeah.
You're younger than me, man, by 3 years.
Yeah.
If you look at that, like I should teach you some stuff. No, doesn't matter how old you are. Your life experiences. Put your ego to the side. I learned so much from you for 2-3 years of our friendship. I learned so much from Gary. You know what I mean? So open your mind, find good friends, drop the lazy assholes that are doing nothing, drop the people that have nothing but excuses, drop the people that have nothing but drama and point fingers. I can't stand this profile. It was me. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to do a podcast. And they don't even attempt for a second sit there and to draw out a plan. All they do is, I'll do this, I'll do that. if they keep saying that and they're not doing anything, drop them like drop them right away.
Yeah, so it's funny. I read something the other day, and it said, what was it? Manifestation is amazing, but action is the only thing that'll actually manifest. You know, and you kind of touched on that right there. And what action are we talking about? We're talking about the action, some of the action of getting outside of your current circle. You know, and people have a hard time with this because they're like, oh, well, I've been friends with them for so long. You know, time and friendship is hard to get yourself away from. You know what I mean? And it's not saying that it's not saying that you have to not be friends with them, but your network is very important. They say the common phrase, network is your net worth. Yeah, it's cheesy. I get it. You know what I mean? Everybody's heard it 1,000 times, but until you actually do it, you don't understand the actual importance of it. You don't understand how a bad network will only drag you down because you can't have high-level conversations. You know, if I think of some people that I hung out with that, in college or younger years that, great people, but I can't talk to them about wanting to scale the clinic and eventually get to, a 12x EBITDA evaluation and sell for $140 million. Inshallah. I can't talk like that.
They won't understand you.
They won't even hear what you're saying.
No.
They'll look at you like you're insane.
You're speaking Chinese.
Exactly. Yeah. But when you get in around certain people, not only will they understand what you're saying, they're going to look at you and they're going to say, well, tell me how you're going to do that. What's your scaling model? How are you planning to do this? Oh, cool. Well, I helped scale this company. Try doing it like this. Let me connect you with this person that helped me scale whatever, Orange Theory Fitness. I met that guy. You know what I mean? That's all through communication and connections. And people are they're almost shy, and you don't come, I've been around you, I've seen you, you don't come off cocky at all. You don't come off cocky. You don't come off loud. You don't come off boisterous, but people almost dim their light for others. And it's such a shame.
It's a shame.
What do you think about, I'm talking about masculinity. And the reason why is because
good question.
You're Muslim, right? Masculinity is very important in Islam.
Yes.
Okay. And I've grown to have an affinity for Islam. I'm not Muslim.
Yes.
But I also, I grew up Catholic. I don't consider myself not Christian, but I don't consider myself really part of any religion. I believe in God.
Yes.
Whether you call that God, whether you call him Allah, whether you call it doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care what you call him, but I believe masculinity, especially right now, has been just dragged through the mud to the point where men don't even know how to properly behave as men in a level of confidence that they can walk into a crowd and shake the hand of another man and say, hi, I'm Tomo. What do you think let me think of how to say this. What do you think the most important thing is for a man when it comes to having a group of male friends, right? Because men don't hang out with men anymore. Did you know that?
I noticed that.
There's a study.
Really?
There's a study. I'll have to pull it. I think I shared it with Gary. There's a study, and it said that most men have 0.5, this is obviously average, 0.5 close male friends. And they did a full demographic, and this is in the West. This is Western culture. In certain parts of the Arab countries, not the case. Men hang out with men. Men gravitate towards men.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so important for men to spend time with other men? Because most men are only spending time with their wives or girlfriends, maybe a family member, maybe one or two friends, or 0.5 if you go by the study.
Yeah, I didn't know about the study. That's interesting. I'm going to go read it. I think what makes it important, my friend, look, in Arabs, like I'm Pakistani. If you want to talk about masculine men, it's the Arabs. You go to Dubai quite a bit. I haven't gone to Dubai yet. I'm going in end of the year. Like you probably know more about Dubai than I do, but like Arab is sometimes a little too masculine if you ask me.
Yeah.
There could be like they make Tate look like a little boy. You know what I mean? Like they're very in your face. But why is it important to men to hang out with men and do it often? Because again, look, you surround yourself. I believe in energy. I'm a believer of law of attraction and manifestation. I believe in energy. I think the reason why we got along so well is that we are on the same frequency, same energy level. And so men should hang out with men because it's camaraderie. Life is not easy. You have a baby, you have multiple businesses, you have a lot of things in your shoulder. Gary does too. Your wife, my wife, does not understand some of the struggles I go through as a man.
Sure.
It's not her job to. I can't hold it to the same category as I would hold you or Sanjay, or whoever it may be. So a man can understand a man's pain and give good advice and even push. Good men, good brotherhood. Sure, they'll hear your sorrow, they hear your concerns. You have a bad day, but if they're good men and they really love you and they want the best for you, they'll say to you, "It happened. I understand your girl left you. I understand you had an accident today. I understand you had your employee suing you. Lawsuits happen, but it's not the end of the world yet. It's and it's okay." And also, with that being said, like men not crying. It's been a dual debate. Look, I was raised by a mom, by grandmother, so I have a side that if I'm watching a movie, Gladiator, a lot of Russell Crowe movies, a lot of Rockies, the Schwarzenegger movies.
Sure.
Rocky, the first one. I tear up. Here's an underdog who has nothing. He didn't win the first one, but he fought. Right. Yep. I'm not afraid of shedding tears. I miss my mother. I lost her 20 years ago. I wish my mom was here to see my wife, my med spa, my podcast, my friends, my daughters.
Yeah.
And I shed tears. It's okay.
Well, it's not feminine.
It's not feminine. That's not feminine.
Yeah, that's not feminine. Now, if you're just constantly crying around your girl and you're just overly emotional, you're not able to control yourself. There's a difference between being emotional and being able to emote.
Yes.
But be in control.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, what did I watch? I didn't, maybe it was Saving Private Ryan or Band of Brothers or something like that. I can't remember. I was watching on Memorial Day.
Okay.
Memorial Day just a couple days ago.
2 days ago. Yep.
I was watching war movies. Guess what? You better believe I'm shedding tears here and there. When one of the brothers dies, when I'm like, because I immediately think I'm like, fuck, I'm like, that was one of my brothers. If that was a brother of mine, or if that was I consider my friends to be brothers. Like if I call you brother, it's not, I don't call everybody brother.
Hey brother, how's it going, brother? Yeah.
Everybody's not brother.
Exactly. I agree with you.
Yeah. But when I call somebody brother, I trust you.
Yes.
That means I trust you. There are guys that I know. So me and you have known each other personally now, a couple weeks.
3 weeks, 3 weeks maybe.
Maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks to know each other. I know you're a quality enough man where if I'm in this podcast studio right now and my daughter was here, 1.5-year-old daughter, I know that if I have to run out of here and I leave my daughter with you, that she's safe.
100%.
Why do I know that? It's because of the energy. It's because of the trust. It's because of who I know you are as a person. Women don't always understand that. Women are, they're almost a little more catty with each other, which, nothing against women. I'm not a woman, so I can't say what you guys feel.
Yes.
All I'm saying is what I observe.
Yeah.
And men, once we are able to trust another man, we're able to confide in them, and we know they're actually listening because they're going through the same shit, just like you said. I'll be able to come to you and I'll be like, bro, I'm struggling. This business is kicking my ass. I got 3 clinics opening up, and you'll be like, fuck, I got you. I know. You know what I mean? We can have that conversation. If I say it to a girlfriend or wife or whatever, any of you guys, if you're saying it to your other half, your female half, if you can have that conversation, cool. That's great. But don't discount the benefits of being able to say that to a man that's on your level or above or even below.
A little below.
Yeah. I've talked to men that are, not on my level, and they've given me advice that was profound. I can go and talk to a janitor about something, and they give me advice the CEO couldn't give me. It's fucking real.
That's insane.
It's real.
Wow.
But on masculinity, masculinity, health, strength, as a man, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who believes in themselves, what are your biggest takeaways on, because I believe you found your masculinity.
Yes.
You were raised by women.
Whole life.
So you're raised by women. You didn't have a father figure.
No.
You gravitated towards movies. By the way, what's your favorite movies? I got to ask.
Oh, we talked about this.
I know. I want to.
Did we touch on that? I don't know.
What are your top 3 favorite movies? You have them.
Godfather.
Godfather. Okay. 1, 2, or 3.
2.
Okay.
To dark. One of the Batman movies. Christian Bale. Nolan. Any one of the 3.
Yep.
You know, I'll say this quickly. I'll touch on it. Dark Knight Rises. When he broke his back, the movie was on in the hospital. I'm recovering from my stroke. He broke his back. He had to climb the cave out of it. That was symbol for me. That was my higher power talking to me. That look, that's your hero. I'm a big Batman guy. I love Batman.
Yeah.
And here his back is healing, and he's climb out. And he failed one time, and the second time he got out there.
Yep.
That was the parallel for me, a metaphor for me. So going back, last my other movie. Dude, Schwarzenegger, dude. Stallone, Schwarzenegger, those guys I was raised by, pretty much. Commando.
I love it. My movies are a little bit different. They're, they're kind of, so my top favorite movie, I think, of all time, and no matter where it's on or whatever, if I have time, I'll stop and watch it, Tombstone.
Oh, wow. Val Kilmer.
Yep. God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
Yeah, he was an excellent actor. Tombstone number 1, and then my number 2 and 3 are a toss up between Meet Joe Black.
Okay. Love it.
You watched it?
People, that didn't do good at the box office.
It's one of the most profound movies.
Classic.
Yeah, oh yeah.
To this day, probably one of my top 10.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt killed it. And Anthony Hopkins, Hopkins. Yeah.
And then the other one would be Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Count of Monte Cristo.
Which Caviezel.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And the reason, and I mean, the book is excellent.
Yes,
so if you read the book, obviously, if you're going to go for a movie, the movie's good, it's never going to beat the book. But the story of like where he was and then where he went and then his rags to riches story and then his behavior with revenge and coming through. Oh, we got Shisha Master Gary here. This is awesome. By the way, shout out to Anchor. They're a hookah lounge right over here in Dr. Phillips in Orlando. And
amazing.
They killed it, giving us some shishas over here. So we get to actually like relax.
Probably one of the best hookah places right now currently in Central Florida, I would think.
Yeah.
So you were saying about Monte Cristo.
So the way that he looked at revenge, and then he finally figured it out.
Yes.
But how much emphasis and how much detail he put into his revenge.
Yeah.
And why was it? It was to get his woman back. It was to get revenge on the person who ruined his life. But ultimately he realized that none of that actually mattered. What actually mattered was family. The woman, they discovered that was his son in the movie, right? Or in the book as well. But if you look at stories like that, when he was in jail, he wanted to die. He wanted to kill himself. He wanted to, just get out of that situation. But then he took that into a learning experience and he learned how to fight. He learned how to read. He learned how to do arithmetic. He learned how to speak. And he built himself in that jail, which he was wrongfully imprisoned, built himself in that jail. And when he came out, he was a new man. Now, did he use it properly in the revenge story? Not really. But the story of using hardship to build oneself, that's the main point of the story.
Yeah.
And that's how I use that's why I'm one of the few people, I think you are too. I'm one of the few people that has pretty much no regrets. And when I say pretty much, I'm going to say 0.
Mm-hmm.
I have no regrets in life whatsoever. I am so happy that I screwed up so many things. I'm so happy that I, that I've gone through trauma, that I was left, if I was cheated on, if a woman broke up with me, no matter how sad it made me at the time, I'm so freaking happy that it happened. And if you can reframe yourself, I know you did, you could have been done from the stroke, bro.
100%.
And you even said you're like, the stroke was the best thing that ever happened to you.
Best thing.
I mean, how sick is that?
It was the best thing. Touching on one thing, so I thought you were asking that and you're an Arnold guy. We both love Arnold.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you about Arnold's favorite movie. But so if not Arnold, but Commando, the childhood movie, all-time favorite. I told you, Godfather, Batman.
Yep.
Heat.
Heat.
Michael Mann, Val Kilmer again.
Wow, that's
and
a good
the
movie.
reason why I like Heat, I love Heat. They're making a sequel. I hope it comes out. The studio approves it. Again, classic scene, best actor of all time across each other like this, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino. De Niro's character taught me to always always be in control of your emotions. And he asked him a question, what would you do if the heat comes around you? He goes, I won't give, I forgot the dialogue, but if something comes around me, I will drop everything I'm doing, I'm going to walk out. And for me, most of my life, to control my emotion, Tomo, has been a trouble.
Yeah.
Again, raised by a woman, and after the stroke and self-development, my true masculinity it's come, it's here, I'm living it. And I go back to the De Niro character and Pacino. You have to be in control. One of my mentors taught me 2 years ago, amazing mentor. He goes, if that building is on fire, that med spa of yours is on fire, and you get a phone call, how are you going to react? And I told him my answer. He goes, no, you shouldn't. You should be cool, calm, collected, just like you and I are talking right this fucking second.
Yeah, that's one of the things that law enforcement taught me a lot, was like that calm control, very important and hard to do, and I have failed at that at times as well. We're not gonna be perfect, you get in an argument, or you have your woman that argues with you, right? It's hard to keep control.
Women know how to get out of you. They know what to poke you.
They're very smart.
They're very smart with you.
Yeah.
And if
they're emotionally much smarter than we are.
If you don't respond, they want to poke you more. But they want to get a thing out of you. And it's hard with women. I say it's easier with men to control yourself.
Sure. Well, women are not supposed to be. Women are emotional by nature.
By default.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Men are supposed to be more in control and stoic, and then together we make a perfect partnership.
Harmony.
But if you're a man who can't control himself, when the chaos happens, and what's funny, I actually saw somebody, I don't remember who it was. I saw somebody say that's women testing you to see if you're capable in a chaos situation. I was like, oh shit. Like they don't even know they're doing it. Well, maybe they do sometimes. But the way this was framed, it was like, if a woman is testing you by trying to get you emotionally out of control, she's seeing how you're going to react in an actual situation where you have to maintain control. And I'm like, fuck, it's a good test, isn't it? That will be, you can have a woman lose respect for you there. Yeah. If you crumble under a chaos situation, what are you going to do when someone comes in the house with a gun? What are you going to do if someone tries to attack your wife in the street? And that comes from the other part of masculinity that, I think is super important and I touch on constantly, is capability. You have to be capable. Capability is one of the biggest parts of being a man, in my opinion. You have to be capable to make money. You have to be capable to speak intelligently, where you will gain and garner respect from people around you. When a woman looks at you and you're garnering respect from a room, that woman loves that.
She loves it.
Right?
Yep.
But also in a chaotic situation, you know how to fight? Most men don't. Most men watching this right now, most men on this that are watching this shit right now, most of you could not win a fight, save your lives. Could not save your wife or children from a dangerous situation because you can't fucking fight. Just piss you off? Good.
You're supposed to.
Supposed to. You need to be capable in all realms. You need to be able to fight. You need to be able to run. You need to be able to provision. You need to be able to hunt. You need to be able to handle a gun. Wow. All these things are very important. It depends on where you live, obviously, but when it comes down to it, if you aren't capable, you will be a victim, because there are other people out there that will victimize you, and they will victimize your family, and they will victimize your children. Let me tell you something. There was a person who would abduct children, and they interviewed him in jail. Okay. This is a real story. This is actually true. And they interviewed this person who was abducting, and I don't know if other things were happening, but they would abduct children, and I think they would either sell them or kill them. Either way, whatever happened, this person, they said, well, what was the number one judge of a way for you to know if that was a good target for you?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know this?
Yeah, go ahead.
He said the father. He said if the father was aware, he said if the father looked dangerous, if the father looked capable, you know, he said that's not a good target. He's like, I looked for the weak fathers. Because, no offense, moms, if a man comes up and they're going to, like, you're probably screwed. Unless you're top level UFC fighter, you know how to handle yourself, you're still a woman, and, you know, you take a punch to the face from a grown man, you're done, right? They're going to take a kid. But the fathers, he would victimize the children that had weak fathers, perceivably. So it behooves you as a man in all realms to be capable, in shape. You know, if you're a fat slob, what do you think? Oh, I'm gonna fuck with you now. What do you think about hiring somebody that's obese?
Oh, wow.
Shall we just cut it now?
It's so funny you said that. You asked me that question. I was discussing with my wife last night.
This is a tough question. I don't want to, I'm not using it. I'm not using the frame to, you know, like attack anybody, because it's not. I'm not trying to attack anybody. If you're out of shape, you know, if you're obese and all these things, like, I'm not trying to attack you. You know, so please answer the question. I'll give you my take on this.
I want to hear your take. Look, I have a little stomach. I'm working on it. I'm constantly improving myself. I was 50 pounds heavier before the stroke.
Oh, bro, you're not fat.
Well, but thank you. But
I mean,
yeah, but I'm in no shape. I'm in no shape like this guy. He's a freaking bodybuilder here.
Stacked, bro.
He's a stud. He shake his hand.
He's got,
oh
like,
my goodness!
It's like shaking a peck of bananas. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. His hand's like this fucking big.
You know, I want to have you in my podcast next. I'm gonna have you on, Gary. I love Gary, dude. But going back, I go, babe, I know this individual. I go, babe, this person is struggling financially, and this person is very overweight. And her mentality reminds me of myself in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, we're poor. Oh my God. And I go, like, how can I help her? How can she help herself? And again, it's like, we all have some few pounds to lose here and there, maybe. But when you let your stuff go, you're telling the world, A, you have no control over yourself at all. And if you have no control over yourself at all, and you're going to come work at your clinic, my clinic, my media company, my real estate, whatever you do, I'm doing, how do I know you have the control, the little bit of discipline to put the work in?
Yep. I look at it as that, because it's the most clear, direct way to look at it. But I also look at it as like, you don't care. If I see that you're 50 pounds overweight, you're 30, 40, 50% body fat. We're not talking about just having a few pounds, guys. I have a few pounds.
We all do, right?
He's got a few pounds. Yeah. Even Gary's jacked ass over there's got a few pounds, right? So, like, that's normal, not being in perfect shape. I'm not talking about being a bodybuilder. But if you are 40, 50% body fat and you are clinically obese, what does that tell an employer? What does that tell a woman if you're single? What does that tell your wife if you're not single? That's telling someone that you don't give a shit. If you don't care enough about your body, because just so you know, this is not fat shaming. This is health shaming. You're going to die. You're going to die. I'm going to say right now, I will say it direct to this camera that is facing me right here. If you don't want to get in shape and get into some type of fitness routine and get yourself in a healthy weight and a healthy metabolic place, and you don't want to lose that body fat, you're going to fucking die. It shows me you don't care. It shows him you don't care. It shows any employer, any woman, anywhere that you don't care. Why do you want to do that? You don't actually have an excuse. And when I hear people, well, I have this many kids, and I have a job, and I have 2 jobs, and I have this. Show me your screen time. Show me your screen time on your phone. Dare you. I dare you. Show me your IG screen time. Show me your TikTok screen time. How many hours a day do you watch TV? How many hours a week do you watch TV? Multiply it by the amount of weeks you have in a year. Multiply it by the year, multiply it by 5 years. You've spent X amount of months or days or even maybe years, if you're really fucking off, you have spent that amount of time basically doing nothing productive for yourself, and you tell me that you don't have time to go to the gym or prep food or be healthy or learn something or get us to a success point, you are fucking lazy. Hurts. Right? It hurts, but it's real, you know, and it's not just about your body shape or your weight necessarily, but it's an image. When you walk in a room and you're wearing a nice suit and you're wearing nice shoes and you have a Rolex on and you present yourself well and you speak well and you're educated, that tells me that you are somebody that I want to have a conversation with because you care. Your hair's cut. Your beard is trimmed. Guys, it's not rocket science.
No.
It's not rocket science. It's part of being an adult. And we're men, so we're going to talk about the masculine imperative. If you want to make it as a man in this world, it's wildly hyper-competitive in every industry. It's not just wildly hyper-competitive in industry and in work and in business. It's hyper-competitive in every marketplace, including your social marketplace, your relationship marketplace, the sexual marketplace. If you are in a place where you're a single man, maybe you don't have the job that you want, first thing you do is look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. What's your hair look like? What's your face look like? What's your skin look like? What's your body look like? How's a woman going to look at you? How's an employer going to look at you? Did you walk in? Are you walking around dressed in sweatpants and some shitty looking tennis shoes? You look like you're going to the gym at all times. You're not going to get ahead like that. Nobody wants to talk to you. You know?
100%.
So it's like what we talk about when we talk about confidence, half the confidence is because you guys won't even put yourself in a place where you can look at yourself in a mirror confidently. That's the biggest problem. I know you look at yourself in a mirror confidently, not because of just what you overcame, but because you work out, you take care of yourself, right? You can look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? Not fucking bad. I do it every morning. I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, not bad, but I can do better.
Oh, 100%.
I can do better. There's always a level up.
It should be. Look, and again, like you asked me earlier, what do I tell people? That's one thing that you touched on. I'm going to expand on it. It's called a law of assumption. The law of assumption is, for example, well, like you said, you're dressing like a scrub. Well, I can't, Tomo, KB. I can't. I'm not that level yet. And when I hear that, I cringe. I was that guy not too long ago. I was that guy that I can't go hang out. I can't do the things. I'm not going to buy those things because I'm not that guy. And that's the worst thing to say. Law of assumption says, look at the end goal. Like, for example, find a few men that you look up to. Mm-hmm. I'll throw my guys out there. Patrick Bet-David is one of them. Vic Tippin is another one. Ed Milet. I think the list can keep going. All of them have something in common. They're fathers. They're leaders. Mm-hmm. They all work out. They are taking care of their body. They dress nice. If I want to be a CEO like Vic Tippin is, or Tomo, or PBD, I have to go to the end result and say, okay, so designer loafers. Can I afford them? I can't afford them. Can I barely afford them? Going back to your point last week, and it stuck with me, man. It stuck with me to this day. If you can barely afford it, do yourself a favor, buy them.
People are afraid.
They're afraid.
You know, people are afraid. They're afraid to put themselves out there. They're afraid that it might not work. When you're afraid that it might not work, it's not going to work.
Yeah, work.
It's not going to work. You have to be. You know, I was talking to. I don't remember who I was talking to. I don't even know if I shared this with you, but I was talking to somebody, and I realized something about myself because I was watching a YouTube video, and I watch it on YouTube constantly. I'm constantly watching stuff to reinforce things or give me ideas or maybe help me understand myself better. And I watched this video, and it was talking about having almost an overwhelming and unreasonable level of self-confidence where it's just almost ridiculous. And I think that's why I've been able to build myself to a certain point, because it's almost like I lied to myself. I don't know if that sounds weird.
That's my story.
It's almost like I lied to myself, and I'm like, I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm going to be a billionaire. Why do you think you're going to be a billionaire? I don't think I fucking know it.
I know it.
Why do you know it? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe. On my way to being a billionaire, I'm already making millions. That's cool. That's cool. It's not a flex. I'm not trying to flex on you guys. It's just true.
It's true.
But I behave like the person that I want to be. I behave like him. I look at myself. I built this character. It's in my phone. It's right here. It's right here. I built this character in my head of this is the Tomo that I want to be. This is the Tomo that God wants me to be. This is the Tomo that the world deserves to see. So this is the Tomo that my daughter deserves to say, that's my fucking dad, right? If you see that version of yourself, you can start taking the steps to build yourself to that version. How does that Tomo dress? Well, he dresses fucking nice, bro. It's custom shirt, nice, Italian jacket. He's got some nice loafers on that are expensive. He drives this kind of car. Okay. Then start doing that shit. That Tomo's not going to be walking around like a scrub.
No.
That KB's not going to be walking around like a scrub.
No.
Your vision of yourself is the most important thing. And I love that you teach that to young men and women about what that vision is, but people don't even think about it.
No, they don't. And I say it's very black and white. And I went to Vic Tippin's mastermind, shout out to Vic Tippin, and he goes to one-on-one, we're talking, he goes, KB, what type of house do you want to get? How many bedrooms? Be very specific what you want. Back to the whole thing about clothing. If you can't afford a Dior or Versace or LV, go buy Zara. Buy Shein. Buy neat, clean clothes. Press them. Iron them. Okay, you can't afford to get a beard trim every day? Go buy one of those machines by yourself on TikTok.
Learn how to do it.
Learn how to do it.
Yeah.
I go to the barber every week, man. I spend about $200 to $300 a month on my beard. But in the beginning, my friend like, what the fuck's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? I go, buddy, I'm a billionaire. I'm surrounding myself around amazing, high level, high frequency, high value men. I'm a leader, and you know what? If Patrick B. David walks in and I shake his hand and say, "Hey, Patrick, want to have a cigar with me and Tomo?" I want him to look at me and say, "Yeah, you are that person."
Yeah, no, for sure.
And so in my head, my vision, that character I have, just like you, is a billionaire, and I'm gonna dress like one. I'm gonna act like one. Like you got me the other day thinking, like I have a nice BMW. I love it at that. But you're like, man, do you have a Lambo? And you know what? I can get a Lambo. I've been debating about it for the longest time.
Sure.
But you're like, listen, bro, get a fucking Lambo.
Is that, what's the reason you're getting it? And that's the thing. It's like, what's the reason you're getting it? What's the reason that you're doing any of it? It's because you are trying to become the superhero version of yourself. That person, that version of you that is at 100%. You're probably never going to hit 100%, by the way.
You shouldn't.
But if you hit 50 or 60, well, you're probably operating at 5 right now. 50 or 60 is going to look fucking awesome in the mirror to you. It's going to look huge, And, do you be smart? Be smart with your money. Be smart with how you spend your money or circulate your money, as I like to say.
That.
I don't consider spending money a thing. I circulate it. And when you circulate, it comes back to you. Well, all the money that I circulate comes back to me 2 to 10x, so you know. FYI. So if I ever circulate money to you or your business, it's going to come back to me 2 to 10x, just so you know. That's how that billion happens, right? But, when you got people that are like, that car is out of reach and this and that, it's like you're already telling yourself it's out of reach. You're never going to get it. And when you talk about like clothes, well, I can't afford to get these clothes. Gentlemen, let me give you a very easy piece of advice on how to dress. Okay? Go to Men's Warehouse. Is Burlington Co-Factory still a thing?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's cool. I'm old, so I have to figure it out. Yeah, we make sure. So, go to some of these places that are these,
discounted
designer stuff. And it doesn't even have to be designer, technically. No. Go and buy 3-4 suits that are cheap. Get basic colors. A gray, a black, a blue. There you go.
Done.
Get those 3.
A few white shirts.
Get a pair of black. There you go. A few white shirts, a few black shirts. Get a few nice. You're wearing a t-shirt.
A sweater.
Cashmere. Okay, but it's cut like a t-shirt, right?
Right.
I'm wearing a collared shirt today. I usually don't wear collared shirts with a jacket.
Yeah.
Gary can attest. I'm usually not wearing collared shirts with a jacket. I just felt like wearing this. I haven't worn my shirt in a long time. You don't have to get custom clothes or Etro from Milan or, Burberry or any bullshit. You don't have to get that stuff. Most people don't actually care. They care about how you're presenting yourself. So get your hair cut. Make sure you smell good, Make sure that you are wearing some nice loafers or some nice shoes and a suit and a nice t-shirt. Like, guys, this is simple shit. Designer brands are bullshit, by the way. I'm done with them.
Yeah.
So I'm done with them.
You buy into it.
I'm done with designer brands. So nobody knows this jacket. It doesn't say it on it. I'm done with designer brands where they say the brands all over them. I'm done with that shit, right? This brand, nobody knows what it is. There's a T on here, by the way.
Let's ask you that later, but yeah.
There's a T. What does it stand for? Well, people don't know it stands for Todd's, which is a UK brand. It's not that expensive, but it stands for Tomo to me. These are my Tomo shoes. I got a Tomo belt on too. I'm branding myself. I want to brand myself. I want to represent myself. I'm not a Gucci family person, right? My last name's not Gucci. Why the fuck am I wearing Gucci all over me? Why do I have G's all over my body? I don't need it. Don't worry about the brand. That's all flex. That's all bullshit. Worry about how you look. Black shirt, nice jacket, some nice slacks or some, these are jeans and some nice shoes. Guys, if you walk up to me like that, I'm gonna think you're professional already. I don't care if you're fucking broke. You took the time to present yourself properly to a room of people that you are clearly wanting to learn from. You think I'm gonna turn you away? Try it. Find me at London House. Find me at Drawing Room. Find me at Anchor, the hookah lounge. Find me anywhere. If you see me in a mall, if you see me anywhere around the globe, I'll be in 6 countries this summer. Find me. Try me. If you come up to me and approach me like a gentleman, properly dressed, looking right, speaking well, you're going to get my time because I know how hard that is. And I also know how rare it is. It's rare for someone, which is why you and I connected right away. When you came up, you shook my hand. You stood up out of your chair. You shook my hand like a man. You were dressed well. You were not like overly nervously smiling, but you looked at me. You didn't smile right away. You smiled after we shook hands because we both smiled at each other. Guys, that's confidence. But I immediately want him in my circle and I want to give him my time because of how you presented yourself. That's what it's all about, man. And that gives you confidence. It gives me confidence. It gives the whole flow of everything. It's that energy, man. It's that energy.
I'm going to add to that. Tomo, what you said is you nailed it. John, I forgot the name. You guys have heard of Superhuman? You had to. This guy comes on IG. He goes, gentlemen, if you are a 7-figure individual man and you want to change your body, come to my program. So you have to see this guy. He's ex-NFL player.
Okay.
And he had a training program. He only trains people. He had to verify your income. His program is very expensive. I listened to his interview the other day, man. I'm sending you his link. You guys, I'm sure you guys seen this guy. He only trained, his group only trained very high profile people because his package is very expensive. And his interview I listened to last night, he's coming on a podcast soon. He goes, listen, the problem is, he goes, there's scarcity. People don't have abundance mindset. Mm-hmm. The other day, my old buddy of mine goes, I'm not talking about you. And he goes, oh, I looked at your boy. Man, he has the same, very similar business like you. Like, you want to be his friend? I go, why would not be one of his friends? Mm-hmm. You guys competing. I go, well, that's the problem. First of all, we have different type of work. He's not doing aesthetics. I'm not doing wellness. Yeah, we have a few things here and there. But even if we had wellness at clinics,
yeah,
there's no competition, man. There's enough out there.
It's so much out there.
It's so much out there.
Collaboration over competition.
Abundance. I could pick your brain. You could pick my brain. If you say tomorrow, hey, KB, I'm going to add an aesthetic line to my clinic. Can I talk to your wife and sit with you? 100%, man.
Of course.
Like, I'm from New York, bro. In New York City, there will be 10 convenience stores across each other. I remember growing up in the Pakistani neighborhood, and one of the people that owned the convenience store, he's failing. The across the street one came across, helped him scale, improve, and saw him thriving. And I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, why would you do that? Mm-hmm. It didn't hit me. Now looking back, that guy was confident in himself, and he had an abundance mindset. He didn't want to see his peer fail. His peer has kids, a brand new guy from the country. He helped him scale, and they're both succeeding together. Sure.
Well, he was probably in that position at one point.
100%.
And maybe nobody helped him.
No one helped him. And this guy, John, talked about it from Superhuman. Look him up, guys. He goes, I did so many coaching programs I bought into. I barely had any money in my account, and I fucking sell them money, got the coaching, and scaled my business. Stop being so scared.
Yeah.
one of the lessons you shared that I always talked about, and you hit it last week on my podcast, was like, hey, I couldn't afford the Porsche, but I found a way to do it. I couldn't afford the London House membership, but I found it. And the number of people, the finance accountings, they're good for advice for some things,
Sure.
but not for everything. But the business mentors, the coaches, the gurus that you hired for just for the mindset, those are the people you should listen to. Like say, he told you, you can't afford it, fucking go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Push for it.
Yeah. It's like can you not afford it or can you not afford it?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I remember that.
Like, are you gonna go hungry, or are you like just don't want to spend the money because it may not look like the wisest move? But again, I was trying to position myself to be the person that I wanted to be and that I knew I could be. That's the big difference, you know?
Loved it, man.
I want to do some rapid fire questions.
Let's do it, baby.
I want to do some rapid fire questions
boy.
to wrap this up before we get finished. And these are fun. These are fun, and these are also some personal stuff.
Wow.
So we already got your favorite movie.
Let's do it.
So we already got your favorite movie, Godfather 2, right? That's number one.
Number one.
Okay. What is one book that changed your mindset or that was the most impactful for you?
Think You Grow Rich and The Secret.
Okay. Which one do you think? They're both so good.
They're both so good.
Think and Grow Rich is such a good book.
It's a classic.
Yeah. And then The Secret, if you guys haven't read The Secret or know what The Secret is, power of manifestation, and they talk about affirmations and gratitude. It's all part of it.
All part of it.
Yeah. Affirmations and gratitude that's what manifests.
Yes.
That's self-belief.
All religions do it. Gratitude especially.
100%. What do you tell someone stuck in a victim mindset? Give them like 2-3 words, something.
What did you do to contribute to the situation? Number one, and number two, with that situation that you're saying you're a victim, what can you say you're grateful for out of it?
I like that.
What can you draw gratitude? What did you learn from it?
Since you coach men and women, give me the best piece of advice you can give for a young man who's trying to grow into the person that he should be.
Draw out the best version of yourself that you want to be like. Draw it out to the detail. Again, shout out to Vic Tippiness. Draw out every single thing. Do you want to have a private jet? Do you want one? Okay. Do you want to lease one or do you want to buy one? Which one? Right? How much? The numbers are really important. What type of car do you want? What color car? Is it a Bentley? What color? Purple? Okay. What model is it? Is it a Phantom? Is it this? What is that? Murcielago, Lamborghini, Aventador, or a Huracan. And then reverse engineer it. And this could be anything, your business, anything you want to do, your body. Mm-hmm. People don't put enough emphasis in the body. Reverse engineer it and break it in small pieces, how to tackle it every day to get to it.
Is that the same advice for a woman? Or is it different?
Oh, same advice for a woman.
Same advice
yes,
for a woman.
I would say.
Okay. Yeah. So, I'm kind of in agreement. I think men and women are very different.
Yes.
But I like that you said it's the same because I think, even though we may really strive and look for and want different things, I think the methods are the same. Yeah. What's next for NeuroMed Spa and Stroke of Success brand?
Well, same thing as you, man. Your clinic. We want to expand. We're negotiating a second location right now.
Fantastic.
Very local. Have you at the grand opening, inshallah. We want to open multiple med spas. Eventually sell to PE. The SOS brand, Stroke of Success. The vision for it is to be a media household. Like I want to have masterminds. I'm already talking about that. I want to make a men's group and then men and women group. I want to do a networking group from it locally here. Masterminds, have people like yourself come on stage and speak, share your story. I want to go ahead and do a day of. So inshallah, when SOS is bigger, I'm going to go ahead and follow you for the day with a videographer like Gary. Gary, come on with me. We're going to go to your meeting. We're going to go to your house, see how you wake up. Go in the lifestyle, the mindset of entrepreneur like Tomo, and see what he does.
I love that, dude. That's really super cool.
Thank you.
Getting into not just the mindset of someone who is successful or who is perceived as successful, but their routine.
Their routine.
And your routine is so important.
It's everything.
And I'm admittingly not the most organized or routine person, like when it comes to everything, but there are certain things I do every single day. You know what I mean? Like you won't ever see me in the morning not do my gratitude practice. It's not going to happen. It's not possible, right? Yeah. What's your message to every man or woman who feels broken today? Singular message.
Awesome. It's look at that camera right here. It's okay to feel broken. I've been there. Tomo's been there. Gary's been there. We all been there. And you never know. We may have to go there again. In order to grow, you must be uncomfortable. If you're comfortable in your life right now, you're not growing. And if you're broken, like I was talking about my story. I had a stroke. Everything in my world was coming down. Everything. I was a big time social guy in South Florida, Miami, Florida, rich friend, doctor friend, M5, the Ferrari, the Lambos back then. And I felt like a loser that I'm going to become a realtor. In my mind, the preconceived notion that I had the realtors were realtors, like no one respects them. Not true, right? I'm digressing. I'm going to come back. Going back, you're broken now doesn't mean you have to be broken forever. So do gratitude to the higher power, the universe, whatever you believe in, number one. Number two, draw out a plan. Draw out a plan of what you want to become. What is that person you want to become? Number three, pray. Pray, meditate, do something to a higher, something that's bigger than you and I, than Tomo. Pray. And I promise you, what you're today doesn't have to be your tomorrow.
Man, that's fantastic. It's the same advice that I give, and it's simple, guys. It's simple. Where can people follow you? Where can people find you and your podcast and your clinic's website, everything? Give them the deets.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. NeuroMedSpa at theneuromedSpa.com. Stroke of Success on YouTube. I'm on IG, KB the Rockstar CEO. I'm on Facebook, TikTok, KB the Rockstar CEO all over. Inshallah, Stroke of Success is going to be on, it's on Spotify right now, but it'll be on iHeart and Apple Music pretty soon. Working on that right now. Who knows? Maybe I have a deal with Netflix or Amazon one day. We're inshallah working on that. And looking forward to, Mastermind. I will be speaking in Houston. I'm the American Dream Mastermind. I'll be opening up for Mario Lopez. This is my first keynote of this size. I'm preparing for it every single day. I'll be speaking much more. I'm currently booking speaking gigs as we speak. I'm going on the podcast also. 2025 was my year that I had intention to go on other people's podcasts. On my podcast, I so far had 80 guests. I'm like, you know what? It's time for me to go on other people's podcasts and inspire. I'm here for one reason only, Tomo. I'm a vessel. And my money, and my brother here next to me, Tomo, he touched on something last week, and I agree with him. The money I'm getting from all the business I'm working on, it's not my money. It's a vessel that comes through me, it circulates to other people, and it comes back to me in multiple ways. I'm opening a foundation, my mom, Aisha Bukhari Foundation. I will help the women out there, female out there, my mom's single mom who have struggled. I want to help women out there struggling in different third world countries to learn how to fend for yourself, how to hunt for yourself, whatever that be. So looking for that as well.
Man, I love this. Honestly, the two conversations that you and I have had, I think have been so impactful, not just for each other, where, the podcast where you interviewed me, you're like, I learned so much. Oh. And then I'm in the exact same position here where I'm like, ooh, man, that's good. Oh, that's, reinforcing already my beliefs. And I know I did the same thing for you. So I hope that this podcast, I hope that what he's doing, with Stroke of Success, with Neuromed Spa, I hope this is really able to touch more people, bring more people kind of back to reality, because I know we've been skewed as a society, and you can't fake your way to success. You can't fake your way through resilience. You have to go through the pain. He's proven it. I've proven it. It's not fake. It's real. It can happen. And the only thing holding you back is literally your mindset. That's the only thing that you need to correct. And I promise you'll be in the position that you want to be.
Love it. Love it. Remember, things will happen. Things are always going to happen. It's how you react to them and how you react to them. There'll be businesses going to struggle. There's some good months, we have bad months, but how do you struggle? His story again, $250,000 went out. He could have been crying and getting emotional. He laughed about it. He learned a lesson, and that's it.
That's it. KB, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Cheers.
Thank you so
much, much success. Inshallah, all the success keeps coming to you, and health and happiness to you and your family, brother.
Thank you, brother. Same to you, my friend. Thank you for having me.